different positions to kind of see where they are. We feel like we have enough guys right now, but we're always talking about making sure the numbers are right, and then particularly if there's someone out there who we like and want to see.
Is 90 players enough? If you make a case, you could have more, and then I guess if you make that case, you could always just up and up.
Yeah, I mean, 90 players is what it is. I mean, I could make arguments for you both ways. But I think 90 is a good number. I do think the more players you have an opportunity to see this time of year, I think that benefits you over the course of the season. It's much better to have a guy in the off-season program, in training camp, and going, when you get into the season, as opposed to bringing guys in cold. I mean, that's a big part of our evaluation if we do have an injury during the season, is what the guy do during training camp. Well, he wasn't in camp. Well, I mean, he hasn't played football in 8 months. That can be a mark against a guy. So I do think if you had more guys on the roster, that would help you. But I think 90 is plenty, and it's certainly the rules we're playing with, and we're going to do our best under those guidelines.
What stood out for you about Quinn ahead of his injury?
Just that he's a real pro. We've gone against him a lot. We thought a lot of him coming out of school. Obviously a very talented guy, quick, fast, explosive. He can bend. He's got a really good repertoire of moves. He knows how to get to the quarterback. He's an instinctive pass rusher. But maybe more than anything else is the validation of what so many people told us. He's a pro. He's a grown man. He handles himself the right way. Comes to practice every day, constantly refining his skills. Tough enough to play against the run, willing to do that. I think we saw all of that, and it's been fun to see that. A guy who's been successful in this league, not only successful because of the ability that he has, but the approach that he takes. That can be a great example to the rest of your team.
How much has the offseason helped Quinnen Williams? Looks like he's got a lot bigger, like he's a little stronger now.
That was big for him. When we drafted Connor, we knew that he was a young player, and we just felt like he could continue to grow physically as well as grow as a player with opportunities here. And he's really embraced the offseason program, was probably as good a performer in the offseason program as we had. And he got stronger, he bulked up, but it was good weight. And he's just a bigger man now. And that doesn't surprise us. We anticipated that. He was a young player when we drafted him, but his approach has been outstanding all the way back to, heard me tell the story many times, when he came over for Dallas Day and the great workout that he had. So we like him a lot, and he's getting better and better.
49ers game is obviously a showcase for so many younger players and guys, but it's also the first time that Kellen Moore gets to call plays in a real game, and Kitten and those guys up in the booth and how that whole operation. You just talk about them in their first game.
Yeah, it's important for everybody. A lot of people talk about the value of preseason games and how many we need and all of that. I think it's a great opportunity to evaluate players, build your team, and when you're building your team, you're not only talking about the players, you're talking about your coaches and the dynamics among the coaching staff, and particularly if someone's doing something for the first time, you want to see them and give them as many opportunities as you can. So I think it's an important game, important opportunity for our whole football team.
If Zack Martin can't go this weekend, do you feel comfortable having Dak in there?
We don't anticipate Zack going this weekend. And we haven't gotten to any of the discussions about who's going to play and what combinations of guys. When we do get to that, though, I'll make sure I tell you guys first.
Appreciate that.
Are we? What time will that be?
Lemonade.
In your long experience in the NFL as a player and as a coach, how unusual is Amari Cooper's demeanor for a wide receiver?
Well, let's talk about what he is as a receiver first. He's a really good player. I think that's what's most important. And, he's capable of doing so many different things. We played him inside, we played him outside, and we've run him on a variety of routes, and he's just handled it all really well. And as you guys know, he handled it coming in midway through the season. So it's great to have him in the offseason, great to have him here in training camp. His approach is outstanding. He's a professional. I guess my experience has been that a lot of players come in different shapes and sizes. A lot of players have different demeanors and approaches. And I guess the essence of your question is all really good receivers have to be viewed as divas. That hasn't been my experience at all. Most of the guys I've been around have a desire to be great, and they want to contribute, and they want to be a part of what you're doing. So I guess there's a certain personality there, but that's come in different shapes and sizes too, and different demeanors as well. Not only that position, but other positions.
Maher's missed a couple kicks here lately, and he's only had, I believe, in chart now, just one perfect day when he's kicked. Any level of concern for him here early in camp?
Yeah, I just want to give him opportunities, both in practice and the preseason games, to continue to grow. He did a really good job for us last year in games, made a lot of big kicks for us, so we'll continue with his growth and development. And the way you do that is you give him those chances. He'll get chances where he works on the side, team settings, and obviously this weekend and throughout the preseason he'll get plenty of chances to kick for us.
This might be a little bit of a lemonade question, but how have you seen the use of the tight end sort of evolve from back when you were a player and then an offensive coordinator kind of up to now?
Well, it is a lemonade conversation, but as an overarching idea, I do think there's been a trickle-up effect in football, and that's the way they're playing football in high school, the way they're playing football in college has impacted the NFL game for no other reason than there are not a lot of fullbacks playing in high school and college. So when you get into the draft, there are not a lot of fullbacks in the draft. Oftentimes you're finding them from other positions, a linebacker or defensive lineman or some other spot. And I would say the same thing for tight ends. So many formations in high school football and in college football are opened up and spread out. And they're not asking the tight end to do some of the traditional NFL tight end things where he's attached, he's a blocker, he's forced to be a complete player. Not only a receiver, but a guy who can handle himself with his hand on the ground. So that impacts us. You get into the draft, there aren't that many of them who are capable of doing that. So I think that's impacted how teams are built, how teams play football, and I just think you have to adjust accordingly. They become really valuable commodities when they are capable of doing a lot of things we would ask them to do.
Maybe this is jinxing something, but you've not had a fight in camp. Was that any more point of emphasis among you at the players?
No. I mean, we're always talking about the importance of focusing on what we need to focus on, and we want our guys to fight, we want our guys to compete, but we want it to happen from the snap to the echo of the whistle, and that's a big part of the culture we try to build here. Sometimes those things break out, and for whatever reason, and you just got to handle them the right way. You got to somehow, some way diffuse them, get guys separated, and get back to work. And you're going to be in those situations in games. And if you're fighting all the time after the whistle, your focus is not necessarily on what you need to do next, which is to execute on the next ball play.
Xavier Woods talked about coming into camp this year with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because there was so much buzz about this team needing a free safety and needing to go get Earl Thomas. Has that been your impression of him so far, that he's playing with a little bit more of an edge?
My impression of Xavier since we got him is that he just continues to grow and get better and better. We liked him a lot coming out of school. He was one of those guys that we saw as a rookie who, was kind of finding his way the first month or so. But then when he started playing in games, it really looked like it clicked in for him. And the more he's played, the better he's played. And, one of the things we talk to our players about all the time is that, there are a number of things that have happened in your life that you can use as personal motivation. Whether it's something that happened when you're in 7th grade or high school or college or somebody said, oftentimes we dig into those things to help drive us. So, I don't know what his personal motivation is. We've really liked him a lot right from the start. He's getting better and better and better. He's going to have a great opportunity to have an impact on our team. All right, good to see you guys.